The Great Fire of London, 1666. In the early hours of September 2, 1666, a seemingly innocuous fire started in a bakery on Pudding Lane in London. London in the 17th century was a bustling hub of commerce, culture, and politics, but it was also a city characterized by narrow streets and densely packed, timber-framed buildings. These structures, though picturesque, posed a significant fire risk, especially during dry summer months when wooden roofs and beams could easily catch fire. The fire at Thomas Farriner's bakery began in the dead of night. Farriner, the king's baker, had retired for the evening after a long day's work. His bakery, situated in a tightly packed row of wooden buildings, was filled with ovens still warm from the day's baking. A stray ember or a forgotten flame quickly found tinder in the bakery's dry timbers, and before long, flames were leaping from the building's roof. As the fire took hold, it spread with astonishing speed. The wind, blowing from the east, fanned the flames westward, driving them deeper into the heart of London. Within hours, neighboring buildings were ablaze, their thatched roofs and wooden walls providing ample fuel for the hungry fire. The blaze illuminated the night sky, casting an eerie glow over the city as panicked residents poured into the streets, frantically trying to salvage their belongings and flee to safety. Efforts to contain the fire were hampered by several factors. London's firefighting capabilities were rudimentary at best. The city had no organized fire department, relying instead on ad hoc volunteer brigades and household equipment such as leather buckets, ladders, and primitive hand pumps. The narrowness of London's streets further impeded firefighting efforts, making it difficult for fire engines to maneuver close enough to the flames to be effective. By dawn on September 3rd, the fire had spread westward from Pudding Lane to the nearby waterfront, where warehouses filled with combustible goods such as oil, tar, and timber provided ample fuel for the inferno. The heat was so intense that it melted lead roofs and caused glass windows to shatter, intensifying the destruction. The River Thames, normally a barrier to fire, offered little respite as burning debris floated downstream, igniting warehouses and ships moored along the banks. The fire's relentless advance struck terror into the hearts of Londoners. Wealthy residents fled their grand townhouses in the affluent neighborhoods of the city, seeking refuge in the open fields and parks on the outskirts of the city. Others sought sanctuary in churches, only to find that even these holy sanctuaries were not immune to the fire's wrath. The medieval St. Paul's Cathedral, with its iconic spire and centuries of history, succumbed to the flames, collapsing in a heap of smoldering rubble. As the fire raged on, King Charles II and his advisors were quick to recognize the gravity of the situation. They dispatched troops to assist in firefighting efforts and ordered the demolition of buildings in the path of the flames to create fire breaks, hoping to starve the fire of fuel and halt its westward advance. Yet, despite these efforts, the fire continued to burn unabated, leaving swaths of destruction in its wake. By September 6, the fire had finally begun to wane. The city, however, lay in ruins. An estimated 13,200 houses, 87 churches, and numerous public buildings had been destroyed. The financial toll was staggering, with losses estimated at around £10 million, a colossal sum in 17th century terms. Remarkably, considering the scale of the devastation, the loss of life was relatively low. Official records indicate that only a handful of deaths were directly attributed to the fire. In the aftermath of the Great Fire, London faced the monumental task of rebuilding. The destruction presented an opportunity for renewal and improvement. King Charles II, eager to see his capital restored to its former glory, appointed a commission to oversee the reconstruction efforts. New building regulations were introduced, requiring houses and public buildings to be constructed of more fire-resistant materials, such as brick and stone. Streets were widened, and new regulations governed the spacing and construction of buildings to prevent the rapid spread of fire in the future. Architects and builders worked tirelessly to create a more resilient cityscape, incorporating the lessons learned from the fire into their designs. The result was a transformed London, a city that emerged from the ashes stronger, safer, and more modern than before. The Great Fire of London remains a pivotal event in the city's history, marking a turning point in urban planning and fire safety. In conclusion, while the Great Fire of London wrought immense destruction and hardship upon the city and its inhabitants, it also laid the foundation for London's future growth and development. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe my YouTube channel Enigma Chronicles.